fun and knowledge, right? Um, I want to acknowledge what's been happening right here in New Orleans. Recently, the city adopted stronger enforcement measures that make it legal to sleep in certain public spaces, increasing the possibility of citations, arrest, and removal from encampments in most circumstances. Supporters have been arguing these laws are necessary to protect public safety, sanitation, businesses, and definitely tourism, and access to sidewalks and parks. Critics are arguing that punishing people for sleeping outside when they have nowhere else to go does not solve homelessness. It simply moves them from one location to another. What do we call that? One geographical location.
One geographical location to another. Boy, you getting it. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
So today we're not here to talk about the political slogans. We're here to ask what actually changes lives. Now, I've asked this question many, many times on this show before, and we have talked about this. I have given my opinion. I've had the judges on. I've had Mr. Ray on. I've had social workers on. But what actually changes lives? Because whether someone agrees or disagrees with enforcement, we still have human beings sleeping outside tonight, right now. They're probably sleeping there right now. And that's the conversation. So, Ray, when people hear the word homelessness or homeless, many immediately picture someone holding a sign at the intersection. But homelessness is much bigger than that. So how do you define it? And I know we're going to get into the book. So we're going to get into the book probably. But just off the top of your head, how do you define it? And before you even answer that question, let's say this. Give us a little bit about your resume, because you were very influential in the whole Super Bowl. Let's go hide the homeless people, right? So
yeah, that was the transitional center. Actually, that actually would have been more successful if done properly. It was what I call a geographical location change. I housed about 107 people out of 180 something, most of them left. But here's, just a little bit about me from Camden. Well, yeah, but everybody know me.
Well, just like
the ones that don't know me.
Just we might have some new listeners.
Okay, so
but just what's your resume as far as dealing with the homeless population, unsheltered?
Okay, so I'm gonna give you my spiel. My name is Ray Wilkerson. I am a lived experience expert in homelessness, housing navigation, recovery, and transformation. I will always tell you, I don't teach from theory. I teach from what life taught me. Okay. Wow. So I've been, doing this for almost close to 30 years, being homeless and personally myself out there in the streets and trash cans and the whole 9 yards, right? But coming to Louisiana, coming to New Orleans, I'm just going to talk about New Orleans real quick. After Katrina, we housed 125 people that was underneath the bridge. During COVID, we had like them 4 hotels that we put homeless people in. We housed people in them. Then we had the transitional center during the Super Bowl that the Philadelphia Eagles won, because I'm from Camden, New Jersey, over the other side of the bridge of Philadelphia. I'm staying on track. I'm just letting people know. But
I'm an Eagles fan.
Yeah. So that's kind of my resume here in New Orleans. I'm currently got a contract helping with revamping a forensic housing program that the LHD has with Grace Outreach. So, yeah.
I don't want to, I don't want to say anything about the under 150 people that you house, but I mean, some of us can do that in a week. So
I did. Oh, I did it in a week. So I mean, well, we was apart. We did 25 in 3 hours. Yeah. So come on. You talking about see now you're talking about. I said Ray Wilkerson, the lived experience expert nationwide.
I'm sorry.
Like not just here. I just gave you here.
I'm sorry.
Did I remind you? You do remind you. There was a delay, but they're breaking ground in September. All the finances in Los Angeles, right?
What are you doing there?
Yeah, we're a brand new $5 million facility that we're going to be doing. Taking our Access Life Change program to do housing
on Skid Row, right?
See, I'm gonna be in Harbor City, but I'm gonna be getting people from Skid Row. But see, and I'm reaching out on two things because I'm also dealing with youth over there.
Okay.
So that's a new thing. So and then I'm going in 2 weeks. I'll be going to Camden, my city, and I'm meeting with people from there, and I'm probably going to drop something there. And so
okay. Well, I'm definitely open.
You going to Los Angeles?
I'm open to be a
are you
consultant.
Are you going to Los Angeles?
I gotta consultant? See. Wait, what you said? What's the package?
Don't worry about it. We'll speak offline.
Okay. So
well, wait. I gotta say, what was the lady's name that I met at when I went to your event that time?
I'm not
at
sure.
The house.
Not sure.
Anyway, if you're listening, she remembers. How are you doing?
Okay. So homelessness.
She just don't want to say your name. That's what it is.
I'm not sure who you're talking about, but my memory, homelessness isn't simply the absence of a house, right?
You still didn't have me answer what my definition of homeless is. Continue. Let me tell you how simple it is, right? You want to know? You want to know if you're homeless? Do you have a key? Is your name on a lease? Is your name on some type of electric bill? If you answered no to all the above, you are homeless.
So I have an issue with that because I feel like, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because we have to get through this 200-page book.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, those things that you just mentioned, that sounds like squatters' rights, right?
It don't matter.
But it's not just the absence of having a house, right? It's the stability, it's the family, it's the purpose. And you said something about this in your book as well. So I know you're just joking, but it's untreated trauma, right?
Yeah.
And we have to also deal with the addiction, the mental illness, the domestic violence. Sometimes it's simply one medical emergency, one lost job, expected tragedy. So housing does matter. I believe that, regardless of my views. But lasting transformation requires more than a roof. Yes. And that's what you talk about, which is very powerful because we often reduce people to where they sleep instead of asking what happened to them.
I'm glad you said that. Hold on. She needs to get some water. So here's the thing. When I was homeless, people would look at me when I was homeless. They would see a homeless guy, but they never seen the journey.
Right.
See, they never see what got you there. It could be numerous of things that transpired that got me to become homeless. And it's not always drugs. It's not always all that stuff that people think. Sometimes it's just losing a job and you just can't afford nothing no more. And recently now, do you know there's an influx of people living in their cars and campers just to get ahead because rent is so high. But
I do. I dealt with that just yesterday. Yeah. I had an RV pull up and unload and kind of camp out there. So yeah, there is one thing through the research and I guess my work, I've learned that most people don't wake up and choose to be homeless. Which is
you read my book.
Well, yes,
you knew that before the book.
Well, no,
I'm going to cut you off a lot because I haven't been here a lot. So we're going to get through this thing. But go ahead.
Yeah. So it's not that I did think because there's so many opportunities that it was a choice. Yes. But
no, wait. Say that again.
Which part?
About the choice.
I said that I didn't. Through my research, I realized that most people don't wake up and choose to be homeless. Yeah. But I didn't know that before. I didn't think about it like that because there's so much opportunity and assistance out there for people who are. So I didn't really look at it like it, that they don't choose that.
Yeah.
I know that they sometimes don't choose
assistance. And even the opportunities, I had plenty of opportunities, things that I didn't. I walked into the opportunities, but being able to take advantage of the opportunities is two different things.
Okay. Well, there's normally a story, right? And if you never hear the story, you don't understand the situation.
Wait. Hold on. Wait. Guys, listen. Listen,
You're
I've been
gonna stay
going a
on.
while, but there is no more paper. She has finally got her notes electronically. I am so proud of you. I just realized no paper. I've been telling her no paper. What it was, I believe, since I left and haven't been here a while, she took the suggestion and never told me. But now I'm calling her
I'm
out.
not gonna tell you what it really was.
It don't matter. You can whatever you say.
Whatever it is, it's an improvement.
Yeah. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, look, I'm evolving.
I just wanted to let everybody know it's no more paper.
Y'all don't hear the rattling.
Yeah, you don't hear the rattling.
Okay.
She's going to kill me after this too.
Yes, I will.
Yes.
So
she really missed me, y'all.
Yeah. So right. So we're going to talk about something that I believe is very confusing for society, and it was for myself. Right. I had to find this sympathy and empathy.
Wow.
Right. So what's the difference? I mean, anybody who knows me personally knows over the course of the last maybe year or two, I have struggled with finding the humanity.
Tell them the difference, though.
Well, okay, let me finish my list. But I've been struggling with finding the humanity.
I should have worn my shades so you couldn't see my eyes.
So, sympathy says, I'm sorry for hurting you, right? Empathy says, I'll sit with you while you hurt. I'll feel your pain, right? Sympathy looks at pain. Empathy walks into it with you.
Yeah.
So, I, like I said, I struggled with that and had to.
Yeah, we used to talk, and I thought you was just so cold.
A lot of people think that.
No, but I don't care about them. I don't mean cold in that sense. I mean, no, on the serious tip, it wasn't that I thought you were. I knew you didn't understand.
I heard the stories.
Yeah.
And so after the same story over and over, different voice, it means nothing to me.
Yeah.
So, so what I did was I went back to school. So I'm in the process of getting a sociology degree, and it has helped.
She's getting ready to graduate, yo.
It has helped a lot with that, but at the same time, but that was the reason that I did it, the sole reason. But
next time, just pay me the money,
and you'll counsel me.
Yeah.
Well, next time is not gonna be a next time, but the difference between so I was at the point. Okay, so the difference between handing someone a sandwich and asking, how can I help you with what you have going on in your life, right? So that's where I was. I was in a position where, and I'm acting like this is my testimony, but I was
go ahead with it.
I was in a position
because you're being set free now. You're coming to the light. I'm so proud of you. Guys, listen, this is a revelation. This is what the book does to you. This is what school do to you. This is what happens when you expand your mind and get a true understanding that homeless people, you got to understand the journey that how they got to that place. Like, and then there was things I was doing, there was things I was doing that I said I would never do, but I was in survival mode. And when you're in survival mode, it's totally different. It's like certain things I had no choice but to do.
Okay, so you're at, so to wrap this up, both of those things have value, right? Someone who's hungry needs food, but if that's all you ever provide, you'll feed them today and then tomorrow they'll be hungry again.
Can I say something?
Sure.
That's why we tell people stop bringing. Now I get it, like going people underneath the bridge and stuff and feeding them and stuff. Tell them stop doing that. You're not helping them. You're enabling them. You're keeping them under the bridge. It might sound cold, but until I get it sounds cold, right? But when we had to move the people from underneath the bridge after Katrina, right? We had to tell all agencies stop feeding them. Why? Because we're going to take you to a place where you can eat. See, that's the difference. Let me take you somewhere.
That makes sense, though.
And when the place that I take you where you can eat, you can also wash up and things like that. And we can start working on getting you out of the condition that you're in.
Okay. So housing without healing often becomes temporary addresses, right? Transformation requires relationships, the accountability, as you said, the purpose in the community. So I love today's theme. I haven't talked a lot about homelessness in the last couple of segments, and that is one of my pillars. So, one body, one mission, one purpose, one kingdom. What does that mean, Mr. Wilkerson?
That means we're all one. We're like one body. We all need each other: hand, fingers, toes, eyes, ears. The whole people who are doing good, people who are doing bad, people who are who's in the middle. We need one body, understanding we are all human beings and we're all the same. Different in culture, different in skin tone, different in those areas, but we're one body. We have one mission when we talk about housing the homeless: to take a person from surviving to thriving. One purpose: to get that person, take that person to a place of the highest baseline that they can get in their life, where they can feel self-worth, and one kingdom under the umbrella of God's love for everybody.
All right. So, what to me is really important, that not many people change alone, right? The government can't solve the problem alone. Churches, nonprofits, businesses, as you said, communities can't solve it alone. When everyone works independently, people fall through the cracks. But when we become one body, as you said, every part supports another. That's how the transformation happens. So, speeding along, one of the biggest criticisms people make is they were housed before, right? They lost it. They'll lose it again. And why does that happen? Because the housing solves homelessness, but it doesn't solve the issue that causes it, right? And I preach about this. We housing, but what else? It stops there. We're dropping the ball. And if you are not educated enough to know how to maintain that house or that lifestyle or that life period, it's gonna fall.
So when I say changing the geographical location, that means I'm in a tent. I take everything in the tent. They put me in an apartment, put everything in the tent, right? It's just an apartment now. Nothing has changed. My mindset is still the same. There's no bridge. There's no pathway that I took to get me to that house, right? So because there's no transformation, housing changes where you stay. Transformation changes who you are. Right. And until we have an understanding that there is a transformation that has to happen, there's a process. For me, everything I've done, the book, the programs, it's my lived experience. It's my life. Like, I had to relearn being homeless for 3 years. And actually, I was homeless longer than that, but like on the streets, like eating out of trash cans, like homeless. I had to relearn how to brush my teeth regularly. I had to relearn how to wash up regularly. Notice the key word I'm saying, regularly. Right. I had to learn how to make my bed regularly. Like, I had to relearn normal day-to-day functions. When they gave me this room, I got this voucher in this room for Camden, right? I was homeless. I got this voucher. They put me in, they gave me a voucher for the rooming house of the room, right? Well, all the rooming houses in Camden, it was like crack houses anyway. So I got there. I was doing the same thing as if I was homeless. And watch this. Only thing I had to do was every month go down and sign a paper. My rent was paid. I still got evicted. Just nothing changed in my mindset. Just a geographical location. So because no one gave me time to learn how to live again, and it ain't about paying a bill. It's like simply waking up, brushing my teeth every morning, not smoking a cigarette so to take away my bad breath. Instead of my breath smelling bad, it smelled like smoke. You see that? I seen that, and think about that mindset. That's what it was. I don't have nowhere to brush. I'm gonna smoke a cigarette. At least my breath won't smell like.
You're right.
It'll smell like smoke. Right. So simple little things like that we believe people are supposed to like automatically put them in a house and that automatically changes their lifestyle. People will listen to me now and say there's all excuses. Well, it's only excuses if you ain't never lived there and not understand how that thing really, that trauma, that depression, that like, I'm gonna say this and I say this all the time. In the section in my book, it talks about voices. Okay, let me go back. She won't get there.
To the book.
I can't help it. I just be flowing.
So basically, imagine someone giving you keys. They didn't talk to you about budgeting, conflict resolution, no employment skills, mental health support, recovery services, nothing.
Hold on. But they gave me an apartment with no money, no food,
no bed,
no furniture,
no toilet tissue,
no shades, no nothing. Or if they did give me something, they gave me a mattress, they gave me one chair, and that was it. And said, you got a key, and I'll see you later. We'll come by and check on you.
Current day situations. So housing is the beginning, but is definitely not the finish line. And one of the things, and I think I spoke to you about with my nonprofit, was to, I see this every day, and we get so frustrated when the landlords go in and there's trash on the floor. But I'm like, well, after they get the food from the fast food restaurant or wherever, it's in a pile on the floor because they don't have a garbage can. They don't have trash bags. So are they supposed to scoop it up in their arms and carry it to the dumpster?
It's a tent. I just put it in the corner of my tent.
Well, I'm talking about the ones that's...
No. Hear what I'm saying.
Oh, in their mind.
I'm just putting it in the corner. I'm just putting it in the corner of my tent. I just got a key now. My tent and my apartment look the same.
They look right. Yeah, they smell the same.
Smell the same, look the same. I do the same thing I did in there.
True story.
Yeah.
So that was why that was so important to me to do like the 90 days of at least the basics.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So
I'm staying with your format.
Thank you. I have another.
I'm trying. But you're just pulling all out of me. It's just like I feel the anointing coming from you. It's just like pulling all the information. I just feel so honored to be here with you again.
Okay. So, all right. So we're going to jump into the book.
She hates when I do that.
I do.
Yeah, but she can't help it. She's on the other side of the table and her pocketbook's far away from her.
All right. So in your book, I know you wanted to stick to certain chapters.
Do whatever you want to do.
All right.
I'm good.
So and I was trying not to write, so y'all just in the book, because I did read this last night, so y'all
matter
gonna
of fact,
have to.
She has a signed book.
Y'all are gonna have to just bear with me. So let me ask you a question, Ray, that we've never got into, because I never really other than on air, I never discussed this with you, right?
Go ahead.
So,
ooh.
And you could say those.
No, I'm open. I'm good.
Even in the book.
Mm-hmm.
You talked about how, you're a manager, you had this life, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then through certain circumstances and different decisions, one bad decision led to another,
mm-hmm.
and things like that. What started the addiction, the use?
Oh.
Like, was it like a trauma or something that you were running away from, or you were just cool, chilling?
No, back in the day, I grew up in the 70s. We smoking weed, taking acid, all that stuff. But what happened is, what I didn't know, that I had a disease of addiction. People don't believe that there's a chemical imbalance. My dad was alcoholic, and his dad was alcoholic, and so forth. So in my lineage, in my DNA, I have an addictive behavior to stuff.
Okay.
So then I was getting high and all that. Then when crack like activated the full blown addiction. Okay. So even though I would get high, would get clean for a little bit, get myself together. When I was in New York, I worked this. I always I was real smart. I would always go to a big city, and I would go to a temp agency because I had a little college behind me and this and that. So I know I could always get a good job. So I'd always get a good job. In New York, I got great jobs, and they would hire me. But once after they hired me, about a couple of weeks, I would go get high. So,
And you said these were like Fortune 500
oh, I
companies,
worked for
right?
Bantam Doubleday and Dell, Ernst and Young, Standard and Poor's. The temp agencies had me going to all these great places, and then I would get that. I would do good, and then like that fourth paycheck, I would say I'm going to go celebrate. But the only way I knew how to celebrate was getting high. Like today, if I want to go celebrate, I'll go get me a T-bone, right, a ribeye, because now I think differently. But back then, my celebration was, oh, let me get high, let me find this girl, let me do what I do.
All right. So you said all I could see was pain.
Yeah. I became immune to it. I thought the abnormal became the normal. If the reason if I wasn't feeling pain, then I would do something to make myself feel pain. Because pain was normal then. Pain was my normal way of life, right? That kept me in survival mode.
Okay. Did you get any type of counseling for that?
No, I mean, yeah. When we were sitting in the crack house, we were telling you. I'm telling you the counseling I'm getting.
After the pain.
Let's get my first counseling session out the way, right?
We understand what that might have been.
Now, you want to hear something funny? Mm-hmm. But I went to NA, so the NA worked for me. So that was kind of like, I didn't really do counseling. Now, here's the funny part. Like 2 years ago, I started doing counseling. Why? Because even though I'll have to 29, today's my birthday, y'all. And
really?
And I got clean on my birthday 29 years ago today on that second floor fire escape. Got clean. But so
happy birthday.
Yeah. So like 2 years ago, I finally started getting counseling because no matter how far away you get from that, like, and we'll get into that because you're going to talk about it later, but there's certain things that keeps popping up my mind. There's certain events that was so traumatic that I did to somebody else that it's like, even to this day, it'll pop up and I'll just can't believe I did that. So I started taking therapy like almost 2 years ago, and because I had it real bad. Like, matter of fact, no, last year I had it real bad. I don't know, like, you probably didn't even know, like, the times when I was TC and then my wife went back to North Carolina. I was down there by myself most of the time and dealing with that stuff at the Transitional Center. Like, I was in, like, real bad place. Wasn't going to get high or nothing, but like, mentally, like, I had to keep praying. That's why I had to get a counselor, because it felt like I was losing it.
Well, that's why, I asked. That's why I asked, because I don't think that you ever really talked. As far as I know, I never knew the root cause, right? So you said that, and as I read it, right, you do say that it's not, that this book isn't just about homelessness. It's not about housing. It's not about recovery. It's about transformation. And it's a book about purpose and about hope. All right. And so I'm going to read a passage. It says, it's a book about what becomes possible when people refuse to let their worst chapter become their final chapter. Because if there is one thing in my life has taught me, it is this: no matter how dark the night becomes, purpose can still be found. No matter how broken life becomes, transformation is still possible. And no matter how far someone has fallen, God can still rewrite the story. Right?
Yeah.
All right. And you open the book talking about where you were then, and then you kind of, and I commented today, which I'm not going to give people my analogy, but I do like the way that the book was written, because you start one place, then you kind of go back and give us the history, and then you pull us back to where you are at that point, and then it kind of goes back and forth, but it all wraps up together. So it's really, really a good and easy read. I read it in one night. You want
to hear something funny?
Sure.
Just hold that thought. I actually started reading the book. I got it Tuesday. I started reading it Tuesday night, right? Mm-hmm. And I went to the place that I'm working at now, and I was talking to the guy, and I said, you know what? I said, man, I forgot. He said, what you talking about? I said, I started reading a book and I forgot. He said, what do you mean? I said, I forgot how that pain felt.
I would think that's a good thing, right?
It was. It was a good thing, but it became a better thing when I remembered the pain that keeps me going today to explain why I do this. But go ahead.
All right. So another thing, you said that you learned over the years is that potential and environment can coexist.
Yeah.
All right. And with me that resonated because oftentimes when the tenants are ready to go at my neck, my thing is telling them, don't get mad at me because I want better for you than what you want for yourself at that time. All right. I can see more for you than what you're seeing for yourself. And that's a big thing.
Next time, I like to use, do you believe I can see your ears and you can't? And they'll say, yeah, I believe that. There's things I can see about you that you can't then.
Okay.
That's a good one.
All right.
You can have that one for free.
Thank you. All right. And you also talked about your friends. So you talk about young people possessing tremendous ability and skills and make destructive decisions.
Yeah.
All right. And you are kind of who you hang with?
My defining moment, I was in 10th grade, and we had this fraternity, and all my boys went and joined the fraternity. My brother used to be in it. I said, I'm not joining that. And, and I'm doing real good. And one day I'm walking down the street of my school, and I decided to join them. And that changed my trajectory. At the time, it seemed like a good decision, but it turned out that's when the drinking and the smoke. Matter of fact, you had to drink Thunderbird, half a pint of Thunderbird to join, paddles and pledging and all that stuff.
And this is in 10th grade?
It was in 10th grade, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So then all of a sudden, the smoking, the weed, and all that. I was an undercover nerd.
Yes, I've heard this story.
But I could fight. But that wasn't a good decision. I look back on it. If I'd had to do it differently, I probably would have just kept doing what I was doing.
I'm sure.
Yeah. But I wanted to fit in.
All right. So you also say that when we look at people experiencing homelessness today, we are often seeing them in the middle of their story, not in the beginning, certainly not in the end. Every homeless person was once a child with dreams.
Yeah.
Right? And so for every homeless person once believed life would be different. I know because I was one of them. Right? And you said the city shaped you. And it never left.
What city?
Camden.
From where?
I'm sorry?
Camden what?
New Jersey.
Thank you. Okay. It's just got to be out. There's a lot of Camdens in the United States.
I'm sorry.
We need to be very specific.
Yes.
Yeah.
Get me straight.
It really, yeah. Because they say if you can make it in New York, you can make it everywhere. But coming from Camden, it's a little different. It's not that it's not that we can make it anywhere. We can be who we are anywhere.
You guys certainly are. You like the West Coast. You like Cali.
Do I like Cali?
No, I said that y'all are like that.
No,
you'll fit in real well out there.
No. Everything starts from the East Coast. It filtered out there. But in my book, you know what? Like, let me expound on that real quick. So I said when people looked at me in homeless, right? They looked at where I was right then and there. They never looked at the journey that got me there, you know. So every you said it yourself. No one wakes up to want to be homeless. But what was that journey that got me there? If you knew who I was before I became homeless, if you knew who I was before drugs and alcohol, if you knew who I was before prison, how would you look at me now, being homeless? You would say, what happened?
All right.
Right? But because you didn't know my journey, you never said what happened.
Right. I just asked. Yeah, that was my first time. Yeah.
Yeah. You just assume. We assume it had to be something negative that caused me to be
triggered
homeless.
It. Right.
Yeah.
Well, and so in your chapter 3,
chapter 3. What's the title of chapter 3?
The Descent.
Ooh.
All right. You mentioned one of the greatest lies I ever believed was that I was in control. I believe I could stop whenever I wanted. I believe I could handle it. I believed I knew what I was doing. I believe consequences happen to other people, not me. That is often how the descent begins. Not with destruction, with confidence, false confidence. The belief that somehow we are different. The belief that we can somehow play with things that eventually begin to control us. That was certainly true in my life.
Let me tell you. So back in the day, it wasn't crack; it was freebasing. So we would start freebasing, and I was the guy that paid that could freebase, spend a little money, go home, and they would always say, "Man, how can you do this? You just freebase and go home." Well, so I thought I had it under control. I could do this thing. Well, out of all the people that I was freebasing with, I became the worst one when I decided to smoke crack. I was the only one that became homeless, prison, and all that because I believed back then that I had that thing couldn't take over me. I was stronger than it. Okay. So I let my guard down, and it took over me.
All right. So someone just emailed. Did you ever go to jail?
Went to prison. 3 5-year sentences.
3?
Yeah, but it ran consecutively. So what happened also? So because I had a little college behind me, they had this new program, this ISP program in New Jersey. I was one of the first graduates that let you out early, and you do 18 months on the street. You do real good, then you get your thing expunged and all that good stuff. But it was funny because when I went to prison, because I had college and all that, I was they put me in the canteen. I had my little office. I was in the business department. See, and I told, and I would,
he always has a little office.
I shared with somebody the only thing. I was talking to my son. I said I had a green card. That's what they call it in Jersey. They still do. Back in the day, that meant I had special treatment, right? So the only thing I had to lock down at night, but everything else is like. Because one of the guys ran the compound I hung with. He was from Jersey. The other guy was from Atlantic City, and he was the heavyweight champion of the prison system. He was from South Jersey. We all hung together. So I'm in the offices, be able to find people's accounts and all this stuff. And then I got these 2 guys that was running the place. I was in heaven.
Why did you? Why were you sentenced?
Oh, it's called theft by deception.
Okay.
I took I was a manager at Kentucky Fried, right? And I was getting high, and it was on the weekend, and I inadvertently smoked up all the deposit bags.
So, were you married? You had kids during this time?
I was married, and that was my 3rd daughter, my 3rd child. I had just got married. I'm married for about 45 days.
So the decision seemed.
Yeah.
Back to the book. One thing
That's part of the book.
Okay.
I just didn't put it in there.
Well, then
it's going to be
in the 7th book.
It's going to be in the 7th book, coming out of total darkness, living the tunnel life.
One thing I've learned is that major life changes often begin with small decisions. The decisions seem insignificant at first. Nobody notices. Nobody sounds an alarm. Nobody sees the future consequences. But over time, those decisions begin to create direction, and direction eventually creates a destination.
Tell you a story. I was Well, it's pertaining to that. That's
Okay.
why I'm gonna
I'm
tell
just
you. Watch this. I'm telling you. I'm giving you the places that caused me to write that. Woo. See, there's a reason why every one of them things. There's a story behind every one of those
we
things.
know. We
I'm
know.
telling you.
Everybody
So
remembers the
I was at
Christmas
brother.
show.
I was brotherhood mission. I was staying clean and everything. Right. This was in Philly. I went over to Camden. I had some money. I went over to Camden. Right. I was life skill director. I have elevated myself with an office. Life skill director, right? So I had about $100. So I go over Camden and I cop 3 bags, $15. I hear a voice said, drop the crack in the sewer, get back on the train. It's only $15. If I just had dropped it in the sewer and got back on the train, it would have saved me. From that time, I didn't try to get clean again for another 3 years.
So you talked in your book. You have a chapter about voices that you were hearing. So I'm not saying this in a funny way, but like you
But
you often hear voices.
Oh yeah, I hear.
So,
Oh yeah,
do you still have the
Oh
voices?
yeah, I still have. I really like voices and flashbacks. Like they're in there. People ask me why I stopped using. I didn't stop using because I was tired of using drugs. I didn't stop using because of the shootouts and the craziness and all that crazy stuff that people. Man, I enjoyed all that, like hustling and all. That was like I.
Okay.
But the reason I stopped is because I couldn't take them voices when I would run out of money and say I ain't never getting high again and throw the drugs away and not the drug paraphernalia. And then the next morning I hear a knock on the door and I get high anyway.
Was your family aware of what's going on?
Everybody knew.
And
the whole city.
They didn't try to.
Yeah, but it couldn't.
Well, you said you stayed married for 45 days, so that was
but see, you see
that intervention.
But that was during that time.
Okay. Well, how many wives? I'm sorry. How many?
Well, I outlived 2 wives.
What count are we on?
Well, Doreen is my 3rd wife.
Oh, okay.
She should have been my 1st.
Oh, all right.
Yeah,
we love Miss Doreen.
Yeah, she kicked me to the curb. And I told her, one of my boys who I grew up with, we were talking with, we were messing with her when we finally got back years ago. He said, you owe us $100,000. Because had she married me back then, we wouldn't have to spend all that money on drugs. I said, it's all your fault.
So you also talk about, well, in the book you talk about loneliness, fear, uncertainty, and I know you said that the pivotal moment where things changed for you was on the platform, right?
Second floor fire escape.
No, the platform.
Oh no! When I was yeah. With that, listen, that right there. I used to skip. It was at 225th and White Plains Road in the Bronx. I literally every day had suits and ties on, going to Manhattan to work. I started getting high. I started living on that train. I was so hungry one day. There was this slice of pizza on the ground. There's people there, and I'm looking at it. I'm starving. And I walked over there, and I had to act like I didn't see nobody. So I believe they didn't. In my mind, I had to see you. I had to be, and I picked it up and I walked. When I took that first bite, I knew that was it. I was done.
Mm-hmm. So the listener asks, how did this affect your children, and how do they feel about you?
Oh,
then and now.
Now I'm 29 years clean now.
Mm-hmm.
All my kids are in my life.
Okay.
It affected them big time. So what happened with me is, like, I gave each one of my kids, they were adults, I gave each one of them to, like, just get it all out. Cuss me out, tell me. And I had to take it. I mean, they was hitting me below the belt. I mean, my 2 sons and my 2 daughters, they was like killing me. I couldn't say nothing. And they got it all out. And after they got it out, I was like, okay. And from that moment, I'm their dad. Because now they know where I'm at. They call me every day. They can rely on me, right? My two sons, right? They were with me when I was on the streets. And this is what people don't know. I spoke in prisons, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I said to guys, I said, I'm speaking to you today, but will I speak to your sons tomorrow? Both my sons did some stuff that wound up in prison, like me. Because the only example that they saw was me. The only thing they heard about their dad was this. They didn't have a choice. People want to say this, they didn't know, because I was the person they looked up to.
You were their role model.
So my two daughters came about when I was getting clean. It gave them a choice. So they never went down the same road my sons went. But I talked to my sons. Matter of fact, my daughter was down here a couple of weeks ago. I took her to my poetry thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then my other daughter stayed with me in Baton Rouge for almost a year.
Okay.
So now our relationship is father and daughter. But here's the thing. I want to tell parents this, right? If you come out of this thing that I came out of, I let my kids do all that, right? And then this is what I told them. I said, but I'm your dad now. Period. You got it out. I'm your dad. What I was saying is, like, you're going to respect me like your dad. You're going to talk to me like your dad, right? And all that other stuff, because I'm still your dad.
All right. Well, and you said this taught you that even in the darkest seasons of life, purpose can still be moving quietly beneath the surface. And you didn't know it then, but the trains were not carrying you toward the end of your story. They were carrying you toward the beginning of a different one. And so as we are running out of time, I'm going to
let me respond to that.
Okay.
Because purpose, right? Purpose kept me alive, right?
Mm-hmm.
All those years that I was out there, the trauma, the depression, I thought I was useless. I thought my life was meaningless. I said, why am I even existing? Because this is just, I'm just no good for nothing. And you know what God said to me? He said, your trauma was your training to be able to do what you do today. He put purpose on everything that I did to be able to stand in front of somebody today and say, I know how you feel.
So one thing too in your book, and we just kind of touched on this, but I did giggle a little bit because I said I'm gonna bring this up. So in chapter 6, because guys, he was like, I want to talk about 1, 3, and 6. I'm like, he was like, I'm gonna read the whole book, right? So, but he talks about the voices. So you have 4 voices, right? You have 4 voices.
4 main ones.
That's what I thought. I was like, wait, let me count. So, all right, you had the voice of failure, you had shame, and what was the other one? Oh, loneliness, right?
Mm-hmm. And accountability.
Yeah. All right. So,
they talking to me now.
I just have to say this. One voice constantly reminded me of my failures. The other one, the shame, reminded you of your guilt, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then accusations and reminders and hopelessness. I just found that to be. I had to bring that up.
Yeah.
All right. Another question was, do you feel regret for how your children felt about you?
So, like, at one point I did, but just like I just told you, God really spoke that to me. Like, I had to go through that with my kids to be able to be who I am for my kids today.
Okay.
Do I regret now do I regret some things I did? I regret the fact that I took my daughter to the movies. I said, I'm going to the bathroom, went and got high, and she's standing in front of the bathroom telling my dad's in there and I was gone. I regret that. I regret things that I did to them. But here's the good thing, like they have forgiven me because we've talked about those things. So yeah, I would, yeah. I'm gonna leave it like that. Yeah, I regret certain actions that I did because what people don't realize, because they don't accept the fact that people can have a disease of addiction. That and Romans 7 says this, and this is the thing that saved my life, and this is for the person who asked the question. Romans 7 says this, and I'm paraphrasing: the things I wanted to do, I couldn't do. The things I didn't want to do, I did. The things that I hated to do, I did. The things I loved to do, I couldn't do. I would formulate a plan to do the right thing, but the next day I couldn't do it right. And in those moments, I thought I was crazy. I thought I was incapable. I thought I was living on an animal level. But then it says there was something inside of you, the sin inside of you that caused you to do those things. And when I read that, it was like something in me caused me to do what I didn't want to do. Like, that's not an excuse. That's like Paul wrote that. Paul was one of the most powerful men in the Bible, and he was struggling, right? So that made me like, did I ever want to do what I wanted to do with my kids? No. There's times that I wanted to do it. I just couldn't, like, no matter how hard I tried, I would formulate a plan to stay clean. I would throw everything away and then a knock on the door and I would still get high. The things that I did not want to do, I continually kept doing. The things I hated to do, I kept doing. It was like I couldn't understand why until I realized that something inside of me was causing me the sin and disease that I had caused me. When I realized that, I was able to change. And it took away a lot of the shame and guilt that I had because it was something causing me that was stronger than me, causing me to do that.
Okay. So one of the things, to kind of wrap it up, one of the things you said, you watch people receive the same opportunities with different results. That was the housing, the programs, the support, the resources. Yet some succeeded while others struggled. And you couldn't understand why at first, but then you began noticing something. The difference was often not the opportunity. The difference was what people chose to do with the opportunity. The realization changed the way you viewed the transformation. Right? Mm-hmm. So, and that's kind of like what we talked about earlier with the opportunities. I'm going to have to skip now because we kind of ran out of time. But I want to remind everybody that you can follow me on Instagram at Front Porch with Colleen. You can always email me any questions that you may have for guests or in general at Colleen at thefrontporch.biz. I
follow you on everything.
You don't ever like anything, but the
I like everything.
The transformation, where looking back, where the transformation. What do you want to say about the transformation? We have like about 1 minute for that. What about your transformation? I had something I wanted to read.
Should have marked the book. Well,
I didn't want to mess it up. Go ahead.
I could have gave you another. See, transformation changes who you are. It transforms you back into what God created you to be. It takes you back into purpose. There's a purpose and plan for your life. It allows you to do something that nobody else can do on earth, that you can reach the potential. I had the slightest iota of my potential. I couldn't fathom the greatness that was in me. But when I started when my life started transforming from who the devil was saying I was to who God said I am, my life had purpose and meaning. And go ahead, you found it.
Healthy communities produce healthier outcomes. People begin believing that dysfunction is normal.
Yeah. Yeah.
And tragedy is that many people never see the alternative. Right.
See, there's a thing called undiagnosed mental illness where
Mhm.
everything opposite is the same. Meaning, it's normal for me to shoot you. It's abnormal for me to walk away.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Ray, for. See, I mean, we ran out of time. I'm sorry.
That's all
I need
good.
like 5 hours. We're gonna have to go over to the podcast with
Yeah.
this one. But I do want to remind everybody that you're listening to 102.3 LP FM New Orleans. We are a radio station with programming dedicated to human rights and social justice. We honor independent voices. We are not a radio station with a mission. We are a mission with a radio station. All right, and I'm not done yet. So before you guys click me off, just hang tight with me for a few moments later. All right. Ray, thank you.
Anytime. You're my friend. That's what friends do.
All right.
Yeah. Huh?
So today's conversation wasn't about choosing sides. It wasn't about politics. It wasn't about blaming the city, blaming people experiencing homelessness. It was about remembering our humanity. A law may change where someone sleeps tonight, but transformation changes where someone lives tomorrow. Housing matters, compassion, accountability, relationships, hope matter. Again, Ray, thank you for being here. I hope today's conversation encourages people to see individuals experiencing homelessness not as a problem to be removed, but as neighbors whose lives can change with the right support, opportunity, and community. And I have to read this and say this before we go. In closing, and this is from chapter 1. This book is about becomes possible when people refuse to let their worst chapter become their final chapter, because if there is one thing in my life has taught me is this: no matter how dark the night becomes, purpose can still be found. No matter how broken life becomes, transformation is possible. And no matter how far someone has fallen, God can still rewrite the story. All right. If you read Ray's book, he talks about his experience on a fire escape when he wanted to end it all. But that was not the end. It was the beginning. And this is just one of the stories, right?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for tuning in. I'll talk to you guys next Thursday, 10 a.m. Thank you.